Welcome to Community Forum. My name is John Goliatino and I'm your host. This evening we're going to have a look back at the Hispanic Center and the progress they made in the past 3 months since they've been on the show last, and there's been a lot of progress. With me this evening I have Eva Colon, who's the Executive Director. I have Patsy Rapello, who's one of the members of the board, and I also have Camilo Fadul, who's another board member, and I want to welcome you all to the show. I can't reach that far. Hello. And before we get into our prepared questions, if you can give a little brief introduction about yourself, you know, how long you've been in the area, or how you got to your current position, maybe a little bit about your family, starting with Eva.
Okay. Well, thank you, John. Thanks again for having us here at your show and talking about the Hispanic Center. I've been with the Hispanic Center now 10 months, actually. I haven't been there for a year, and lots have changed. We've had an exciting 10 months as far as I'm concerned in terms of programming, in terms of revision of mission, and so forth. I'm not
a little bit about
local.
Your background, though.
I'm not local from Danbury. I'm from Bridgeport. I've been a lifelong resident of Bridgeport. And I'm also a professor, teacher, and adjunct instructor at the University of Bridgeport. And so I have a passion for working for the community and making sure that the voice of the folks with less resources are heard. And so it attracted me to the Hispanic Center to ensure that the voice of the Latino community is heard.
Okay,
so
very good.
Again.
Okay, you're welcome. Patsy?
I'm Patsy Rapello. I was born in Argentina. My father was American. He was there with the Boston Bank. We've been living here, my husband and my 3 boys, for the last, roughly 26 years. And I started my career in the U.S. teaching English as a second language in the bilingual program at Rogers Park Middle School. It was a fantastic opportunity to get to know the Hispanic community and the great things that were being done for the kids. And when I retired from the school, I joined the board at the Hispanic Center. And I'm delighted to say that I'm still there and enjoying it immensely.
I'm sure there's people out there saying, she's too young to be retired.
Well,
okay.
I'm not that young.
Okay.
And it's great to be retired.
Right. Very good.
I'm doing real estate now, but that was my career. Mm-hmm.
Camilo?
Hey John, how are you?
Okay.
My name is Camilo Fadul. I'm an electrical engineer, and I've been in the Danbury area for the last 4 years. I came over to the area because of the job opportunities that you can find around in the technology companies. So I work for an advanced technology company that manufactures power plants, fuel cell energy, and I've joined the board in September last year. So I haven't been with the Hispanic Center for a year yet, and it's been a very exciting experience. So I'm glad to be here.
Well, that's good. I know there's a new look. Maybe we should start by giving the website out, you know, so that people have. Go ahead.
Well, Camilo's going to talk about.
Okay. Camilo. Okay.
Well, the Hispanic Center has been working very hard on projecting a new image, and one of the tools that we have been using for it is the website. The website that the Hispanic Center released recently, actually in the spring, is a very active website. We are keeping it very, very updated, so the community can find the latest news and the latest events that we are actually working on the center, and they can get there and register themselves and find out all the latest that we have on the website. The website address is HispanicCenterofDanbury.org. And I would like to see a lot more visitors hitting the website than what we have seen so far. And we need the help of the community and the sons and the daughters of our Hispanic members of the community to get on the website and let them know that there is a lot of news in there.
Okay, very good. Okay, now the board makeup. Patsy,
well, it's always a challenge to have a full board and an interesting one, and let me tell you that we do have now. Everybody has worked very hard so that we have a bit of everything, people from all walks of life, Hispanics and non-Hispanics on board. We have delved into the Danbury Hospital. We have doctors from the area, we have lawyers from the area, teachers, ex-teachers like myself, people from the corporate world, folks that are own their own companies, insurance, etc., folks with great knowledge of how to run a board like yourself. And that is helping us organize in a way that we had never done before. This way we are in touch with our community, but we are also in touch with the American community to understand what is expected of us and what we can do much more. We are doing much more for our community than what was done before, and we will continue to do it. We are growing by leaps and bounds.
Now you got people from most area towns like Richfield and Bethel,
oh, yes.
and Newtown and Brookfield,
Danbury.
Right.
I mean, Southbury.
Right.
We hope to have, we service the greater Danbury area.
Right.
The Hispanic population is all over the United States.
Right. And it's all over this area. Right.
Yeah, and we really want to include everybody, help everybody, get ideas from everybody. It's a pleasure, really. And it's a very dynamic board with lots of subcommittees. I mean, and we're constantly creating a new one as we think of new aspects of our job that we should be doing. So it's great.
Depending on the needs,
Depending
on the needs.
Okay. Programs. Eva?
Well, programs, as I alluded to earlier, with the revision of our mission came a realignment of programs. And so our programs now really focus specifically on what we do best. And so we want to stay on track with what we do best. We don't want to create programs that are not needed in the community. We don't want to bring on programs because there's funding out there, but in reality is not a need. So currently we have programs such as our ESL class, which is our English as a Second Language. We also have acculturation classes to go with it. And it's important to teach the Latino community and the Hispanics all about becoming U.S. citizens and how to become U.S. citizens. And therefore we have a class which Patsy actually runs the class, and we have some great success stories. And perhaps Patsy, you want to talk a little bit about the citizenship classes as we talk about programs.
Oh, I'd love to. That's my baby, not mine only, together with Liliana Tortolillo and her daughter. And we have a new volunteer, because it's all volunteer work, Susana. And what we do is we do it twice a year, usually spring and fall. We've done it during the summer this year because of our own personal needs. We just couldn't fit it into the spring. It's usually 12, 14, 16 classes, depending on how the classes flow. And we cover both American history from the Pilgrims on, to civics, to going over the exam itself. And really our objective is to have our new citizens understand what are the obligations and the rights of an American citizen. And also, if you're living here and you're enjoying the benefits of life in America, also understand how difficult it was to get to the point in what we are, and how we need to maintain that and make it better. And let me tell you, so far we're batting 1,000. Every single person that took the exam passed. The last one was last Wednesday. I believe on Thursday there was another lady who took the exam. I still don't know how she's done. I think she's still celebrating, so we haven't heard from her yet. But I mean, people stay for 2-3 hours of the class. They come back to practice before the exam, and they're really anxious and delighted to be able to take the class.
When are they eligible to take the exam? Do you have any idea as to
the requirements?
Yeah, what the requirements is.
You have to have what normally is called green card, which is become a legal alien.
Right.
For at least, in some cases, depends. It might be 5 years. If you're married to an American citizen, it's less. So you need to really double check it, because it also depends. There are different variances to the rule, but roughly 5 years. And in some cases, very few, you can take the exam in your native language, but you must have had your green card for at least, I think it's 16 to 20 years. You have to be over 60 years of age. In other words, you have to really show that you couldn't handle the English language. We train our students in English. We explain some things in Spanish just to get the point across faster, because you know they're doing history that normally takes kids 5 years, 6 years to learn, and we are doing it in 4 or 5 classes. And it's not easy to understand the democratic process either. It's not an easy thing for people that come from countries where democracy is just a name to really understand the importance not only of a vote in the federal sense, but also your local votes, participation in school boards and things like that.
In many of these countries, you go to the town hall, and then they pretty much are, it's like a dictatorship of what happens at the town hall.
It's so unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's not just the town hall. It's, I mean, in our countries, you know the results of the elections way before the voting process. Votes get lost. You don't. People feel totally that voting or not voting, everything is already set ahead of time. In many cases, it's not been easy for Latin America to sustain democracy.
Okay. And then there's other parts of the program.
Yes, there are. We have basic computer classes, an intermediate class that helps them go to the next level. We have a Spanish GED class, a math class also that goes with that. And we currently are working on creating a new graphic design class for youth. One of the exciting things with our board was they just accepted having a youth group participate out of the Hispanic Center. So we want to create some programming that also address our youth, and it would be interesting to see the youth and their parents perhaps at some point working together in a class around a computer so that the knowledge is shared between the parent and the child. We also have health orientation programming around breast cancer awareness. We get funds through the Susan Komen Foundation that helps us to reach out to the Latino community, specifically the women, and to teach them about self-care, the importance of self-care, testing, and so forth, the mammograms. We collaborate with different organizations such as the AIDS Project, reaching out to them. They come to our center and they provide free testing and free services to individuals, to the Latino community, again, raising awareness of the importance of self-care. We participate in health fairs, and again,
we're going to be working on one.
We're also putting one together for ourselves, and that'll be our first one that the Hispanic Center puts together. And again, the goal is to reach out and to educate our community about the health issues that currently are out there and what resources exist so that they can address their issues. We have we offer basic legal services and referrals, and with that we talk about workshops around tenants' rights, landlord rights. What does a lease look like? What are the responsibilities I have once I sign that lease? My security deposit, you know, how do I get that back, and so forth. So we create and we help put together workshops that address these issues on both ends. So we educate our landlords as well as the tenants who are our clients. We help them complete forms, whether they're for child support, whether they're applying for food stamps, whether they're applying for services. We help them apply for any service that they need, and we refer them to any programs that they may need as well. We provide case management, and sometimes with the case management is walking them through a process, from the application process through the acceptance of a program, and making sure that there's a connect, that we don't lose that client through the cracks, and that they're always connected and linked back to the Hispanic Center.
Now, there's a little bit of controversy about what it means to advocate, and there is a certain amount of advocation that goes on. Could you explain that?
Absolutely. The Hispanic Center advocates for all people. We serve anyone who walks through the doors of the Hispanic Center. It doesn't mean that because we are the Hispanic Center that you have to be Hispanic to come through the door. So we serve anyone. The advocating piece, however, we advocate around large issues such as affordable housing. It's a crisis across the state. It's a national issue. So we do that type of advocating. There's the big advocating and there's the small advocating. The small advocating, or the advocating with the small A, as we call it, is what we do day to day for our clients. We advocate for their rights. We advocate for services for them to ensure that there are no gaps in services, that there's programming out there that address the needs. So we advocate strongly. If it doesn't exist, we try to create and partner with other organizations. So again, we address the issues that the clients may have. Now the big advocating that we do, or with the capital A, is more around federal immigration issues. For example, the whole reform. We know that the system is broken. How do we create a voice, a unified voice, to address that issue? And that's a national issue, and we're not going to sort of have the solution. If we did, we wouldn't be sitting here today. But
right.
It's something that we'd like to be a part of that process to ensure that our voices are heard, and that there's uniformity, and that it's equal, for everyone. So our advocating is at a big scale as well as at a small scale for all people that walk through the Hispanic Center.
Okay, but there's limitations. In other words, under a 501c, you can only advocate to a certain extent. So we never cross that line.
Well, absolutely. I mean, as a 501c3, folks will always question, how far can you advocate? Can you lobby, for example? That's more the issue, is lobbying.
Right.
You have to be careful. There is, statutes around being able to lobby, as long as it's addressing the issues for the services that you provide. We're not such a large organization. We're not like a power company who can hire lobbyists and pay them thousands of dollars to lobby to deregulate some,
right.
The whole light issue. But as a nonprofit, we can advocate, and we do it in a way that is positive, that's proactive, that's inclusive, that is definitely to benefit the people we serve. So
right.
we advocate for people's basic rights, which I think is the best we can do.
And it's an amazing the number of landlords that will say, well, this is an apartment, and you wouldn't even put your animals in there or whatever. They have
Sure.
a basement type of thing, or they have them in attics and that kind
Absolutely.
of.
And we find ourselves in front of some landlords, whether it's across the table, amicably talking to them about, here's the situation, and the client doesn't speak English. There's a language barrier, but they're paying their rent and they're concerned about some issues in the unit, and we find ourselves advocating for them, as well as the other end, advocating for the landlord, saying to the tenant, hey, look, here's the lease, and you agree to X, Y, and Z, and this needs to happen. So we advocate on both ends. It's not as if we're advocating blindly for our client, because that's what we do, but we advocate for all people, so that the basis of our advocating is definitely for everyone, not just for one person or one group.
Now we have at the Hispanic Summit, there's a certain number of events that go on during the
Sure.
year. Maybe you can run through the calendar starting at the beginning of the year, and then we can talk about the upcoming event that's going on now.
Sure.
What goes on, let's say January, February, and that period of time? Basically a lot of planning, but I'm trying to think if there's certain activities. You always have people in breast cancer awareness. There's always something going on, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we do have events, and it's basically to supplement our income for the Hispanic Center. There are a number of grants that we get throughout the year, and there's funding from the state that we receive for the services we provide. But aside from that, we do have to raise money, and we raise our money through our events.
Right.
So annually, we have our breakfast. We have a recognition breakfast, and that's also a fundraiser. And we recognize folks out in the community, whether they're Hispanic or not, who have helped move the Hispanic Center's mission forward. So we try to acknowledge people from the 4 pillars, if you will, from our mission, which is the ESL, someone that has helped in that arena, in the health arena, in the legal arena, in the advocating arena, and we acknowledge them and thank them for the work that they've done in collaboration with the Hispanic Center. And so it is a fundraiser as well. And so we have that. We had a successful one this past April. We had about 150, 160 people at our annual recognition breakfast, which was historical for the Hispanic Center. So that's the first event we have in the year,
right,
aside from our annual meeting that we have, that we open our books to the community and let people know who we were, how many people we served. While that is not a fundraiser, it's an opportunity to sort of showcase who we are and the good work we did throughout the year. Aside from the breakfast, we do have our...
You're going to have a health fair.
We're going to have a health fair, which is our first annual health fair for the Hispanic Center, and that's going to take place on Sunday, September 28th. It's going to be at a local church at La Guadalupe, and we're hoping to bring some providers. One of our board members is a local internal medicine physician who will be providing some medical services on site, and it's going to be pretty exciting event, activities for the children as well.
So there'll be screening for blood pressure.
There'll be screenings for blood pressure. There's going to be talk about diabetes. There's going to be kidney information, all kinds of information. Again, raising the awareness of the Hispanic community around health issues. And again, that is scheduled for Sunday, September 28th, and we're looking forward to that.
All right, then there's the big event.
Our big event is our annual gala,
yeah,
and it's exciting. Again, that'll actually be my first year at the Hispanic Center, so I'll be celebrating my first year anniversary with the Hispanic Center. But actually, it's an opportunity again to raise money for the Hispanic Center. We're looking for corporate sponsorship this year. We're doing things a little different than in the past. We're stepping our game, so to speak, in terms of raising money, looking at creative ways to bring different players to the table to really examine and look at the investment that they will be giving to the Hispanic Center when they contribute. And so we're looking again to have a successful event. Last year we had about 180 people participate. We're looking to double that number this year.
Yeah, because we're into there's a larger venue this year, right? You want to mention that we're at what used to be called
the Sheraton. This year is going to be at the Danbury Hotel Plaza, and they have a wonderful menu. As a matter of fact, we had an opportunity to meet the folks there and choose the menu very specifically. So it's going to be exciting.
So no one's going to be. No one's going to starve.
No one's going to starve. There's going to be plenty of food. Plenty of food.
Right.
There's going to be live music.
Yeah.
Live music. We're going to have salsa lessons. We're going to have a silent auction. So there's going to be something for everyone there that evening, as well as we'll have all our presence there to entertain folks and talk to them about the Hispanic Center. Yeah. So we're really looking forward to the annual gala. We're hoping that the community supports us. They come out and have a great time with the event, and again, we look forward to seeing all the folks who participated last year come forward and bring additional new people to our annual gala.
So you can fit about 400 people in there,
yes,
roughly?
About 400 people.
So there's a lot more room for people out there in the general
Absolutely.
Community to come. Okay.
Absolutely. So the event starts at 7 p.m.
We can't get into too much detail,
okay,
but it's going to be October 4th, right?
It's going to be Saturday, October 4th.
Right, and we have a website that we can mention again, right?
Sure.
You want to, Camilla, you want to mention the website?
Sure. The website is HispanicCenterofDanbury.org, and we welcome everybody to visit it.
Right,
and
we'll have information on all the programs and all the events.
There are lots of information on every single one of our events, and of course we mention our annual gala, and everything is detailed in there.
Right.
And actually there is a place for people that are interested in attending the gala to register to that event in there.
We got Comcast rules, we can't go too far in that direction, but they can go and get information there. That's
yes.
Good. And then if anybody has questions about programs or signing up for an ESL course or whatever, there's stuff on the website.
Correct.
But, you can also mention
they
a telephone
can contact
number
us
for that.
via the website.
Right.
A telephone number.
Or they can call directly the Hispanic Center at 203-798-2855, which is our main number, and they can speak to our reception and they can get the
and they'll
information.
Get referred to whatever program
Absolutely.
that they have an interest in, or maybe it's somebody that works for them or whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think we've got like about another 3 minutes left. Is there anything in summary that you'd like to mention, or some things you'd like to, some experiences, people that have had problems that you've taken care of recently, or your staff has taken care of recently?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, one of the opportunities I've had firsthand is to actually go into the school system in a neighboring town and talk with a parent about an issue with the student, and successfully place the student in a position where this coming year, the school year, the child will be placed in a better place with additional services that he needs to be successful, as well as, again, with the issue with the rental properties, having an opportunity to speak to both ends, not just to the client but also to the landlord, to learn about what are some of the issues they may have. And interesting enough, learning that some of the landlords are struggling with, they have great tenants but they can't communicate to them as well, and being able to mediate and to advocate on both ends, I think, is phenomenal. Again, there's no interest to us at the Hispanic Center to, either way, there's no financial gain, but at least to see that there is an issue, it's on the table, and we can have them resolve it in an amicable way. And those are success stories that we have, as well as connecting them to programs that they really need.
And there's a lot of referrals that go on.
Oh, absolutely. Tons of referrals.
How about some ESL or...
I would like to be able to say one thing to the general public. If there are folks out there who would like to become American citizens, there is a form that has to be filled out that you call INS, and they send it out to you. You can pick it up at the library, etc. I recommend anyone who's filling out that form to fill it out very carefully before you send it in. Make a photocopy, because part of the exam for American citizenship is to answer questions on that form, and they're difficult questions sometimes that you just don't remember the answer off the top of your head. How many times you've been in and out of the country after a certain date, before a certain date. That sometimes it's not at the tip of your fingers. You have to check your passport, and you can't do that at the exam. And also sometimes you answer with advice from friends, and they might not know the law, and your answers might not be as correct as you think they are. So I'd be very careful with that, because we've had problems in that sense. And once you've sent it in, it becomes a legal problem if what you've put on that document is not correct.
Right. We have one more telephone number and website, and then we got to go.
Well, to reach us at the Hispanic Center, again, the number is 203-798-2855, and they can reach us and ask us any questions regarding programs, and we'll be happy to connect them.
And the website one more time?
HispanicCenterofDanbury.org.
Okay, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank to the viewers for tuning in to the Community Forum. Tune in next week, same time, same station. We'll have another interesting program. Good night for now. We'll see you then.